when it comes to the audience, fan base, family, however you want to describe it, man, you got to shake hands. You've got to sign every autograph. You should be the last person, you and the general manager of the bar should be the last two people leaving that venue. You should have signed every CD, every T-shirt, every piece of merchandise, poster, whatever. You have to shake hands with all those people and say what up and make that connection.
Hey, yo, welcome to the Rap Career Growth Podcast.
We're here to help rappers, artists, producers, their teams, the rap community at large, grow businesses around music.
Join us as we share insights, tips, and interviews with industry experts to help you succeed in the rap community.
I'm Kyle Kraft.
And I'm Imperative. Let's get started and make some moves together.
Welcome to the Rap Career Growth Podcast. All right, today we are joined by Prevail of Swollen Members. He's got tens of millions of streams of his music under his belt, hundreds of thousands of records sold independently, multiple platinum records, well over 1,000 performances crushed on, I think, 4 continents. Does that sound right, TP?
I think that's right.
I want to start early days, though, talking about being an artist and turning it from a passion into a vocation. Can you fill us in on what the early days of like, hey, this is something that I can pay my bills with look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, long story short, I was working in the service industry. I was front of house and back of house. I always was able to serve and cook and or dishwash. My bartending career was not the longest part of my service industry career, but I was doing that while I was trying to balance, let's see if I can make the music kind of go, to the point where Matt and I were performing. Usually I was taking the weekends off. At one point, my manager said, you got to make a choice. You've either got to, you have a great career in the service industry, or you got to do the music. You make a choice. And he really urged me to, make that decision. And I ended up choosing music, obviously. I didn't know it was a viable path at that point, but we were starting to do some shows. We had dropped a couple 12 inches. Things were starting to go. We ended up touring Europe and the UK, as you know, with Vadim and Mr. Thing and Task Force and Killa. Did Australia, we did Japan. And we did Japan first, actually, was the first tour with Rocksteady Crew, and Zodak was our DJ back then, and Tribal Clothing Company. And then we ended up doing Europe, UK, Australia, and it just kind of started to take form. And we started touring the States. And then all of a sudden, the album dropped. We won our first JUNO, and we started touring Canada. The phone just started ringing.
But you just encapsulated 5 years into like 3 sentences.
Okay,
we're going to break that down a little bit.
But that's okay. So sorry. What I guess what I should say is, I think one of the things that was really integral for Swollen when it ended up breaking was that we had all this experience as far as stage time. We had put our time in. We figured out what our live show looked and felt like before we even had a chance to perform anywhere east of Alberta in our own home country. So when we won the first JUNO, and like I said, the phone started ringing. Our show was pretty, I wouldn't say polished. It was still pretty raw, but we had an idea of what it should have looked and felt like. And I think that took people by surprise. And that to me is where the trajectory kind of started, and it started to catapult from there.
No doubt. So with the first tours that you guys did when you were opening, how did those opening spots, how did you get those? How did those come about?
I don't remember us ever doing buy-on spots. I don't think we ever did buy-on spots, to be honest. You may have a better recollection of that than me as the behind-the-desk smart businessman that you are. But I don't ever remember us doing buy-ons. But I do know, if you want to call the old school version of a buy-on not getting paid, then yes, we did plenty of those things. Like pay your own way, but we weren't buying onto full tours at that point or anything like that.
So
But,
where did the relationships come from to allow you the opportunity to get those looks for the unpaid opening spots?
Sure. So I think, for Swollen in particular, and I don't want to go through the whole discography of Split Sphere and all those opening things and events that we would attend, and freestyle ciphers and stuff like that gave Moke and I a bit of footing to stand on, or what Matt and Flip did to get their thing when they were in Vancouver and then down in San Francisco. But let's just say everyone worked in very earnestly to, get some kind of accolades. We stood in ciphers in different parts with amazing artists that we all herald and love and are super talented that we still know to this day. As we just played LA a month ago, and I was humbled to be in the presence of a lot of these cats.
Rhymefest was dope.
Yeah, Rhymefest was dope. That was, yeah, it warmed my heart that we were invited to that and were able to perform. So, but in the beginning, it's just you're volunteering your time and hoping that your skill set kind of registers and you can start to build a little bit of buzz and have people talking about, I just saw this dope show. So for Swollen in the beginning, we were selling T-shirts and all that stuff out of the back of Mad's Jetta, just literally driving around Vancouver like, hey, we know that person from, the hip hop scene. You want a Swollen members T-shirt? $12 or $15, whatever it was. I don't even think they were as much as $20, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just print T-shirts. We take that money and we went to the studio. And we recorded, and because Matt had lived in San Francisco and I had lived in San Diego, so that we had that Southern Cali connect, we ended up knowing a bunch of dope MCs and DJs and producers. And everyone was for hire at that time, right? We're all young, up and coming, $500 for a beat, $500 for a verse, 1,000, whatever it was. You want to come up to Canada, kick it for the weekend, we got you. You got a place to stay. Prevail cook. He'll take care of everything else. Don't worry about it. And we just built these really cool relationships. And then slowly, even I'd say, man, we probably dropped 12 inches for a year and a half before Balance dropped.
4 years.
No way.
1995 through 1999.
What? No.
Yep. 95, 96, 97, 98.
Okay, I'm gonna counter that a little bit because I think going back in my rhyme books, I found all my rhyme books. Thank God my mom got them in storage for me. I think the first rhyme book that I remembered having Swollen members at the top of the ledger was 95. 90. Yeah, okay, you know what? It was probably 95, 96.
The blue 12-inch came out in early 96, I believe. The red 12-inch came out in 97. No. The one with AC Alone and Everlast.
That came
Consumption. That was 96.
Oh, wow. Okay. So yeah, sure. Okay. So slowly we're dropping 12 inches. I didn't realize it was that long of a thing.
It's a grind, a 4-year grind.
Balance could have come out in 97, but anyway, it came out in 98 or something like that, and we won the JUNO in 99.
No. Came out in 99.
Am I part of this
released it.
Not?
It came out in the States in 99 and was an import for the first year and a half. And then we re-released it with a new distributor in the United States and Canada in 2001. 2001. End of 2000, beginning 2001.
Sorry. We won the JUNO in 99. The first one for Balance.
Yes, that's true. For the original release, that's true. Yes.
For the original release.
Yes, that's true.
Well, so then I guess technically it came out first. Did it come out first in the UK and Europe on Jazz Fudge? Did that drop the Canadian drop?
It came out first in Europe because I was in Europe, as you well know. We'll get it maybe.
We'll save that for another podcast.
So I have a copy of it, the Jazz Fudge issue of it, which had its own cover art. With Vadim's painting. and the sticker,
Yeah.
the promo sticker
Yeah.
on it,
Which is literally from this photo. I'm not kidding.
Yep.
It's a
With Zodak, right?
Zodak was sitting here.
Yeah.
Right next to Mad. We shot this in Seattle.
Yeah. Dope.
I
Very
thought
dope.
it was really dope that
You guys did some great collaborations and broke bread with some super talented artists that definitely helped elevate awareness of you guys, but those were stylistically appropriate, like the right fit to help grow things. And also performed live with them, put on some shows in Vancouver as well in conjunction with them, correct?
Monkey, the whole Drunken Monkey sessions with Dell and Son Doobie or Funk Dubious, and just Mixmaster Mike came up here. Yeah, no, it was Vancouver, and I literally went to Flip's 50th yesterday, so basically everyone except Red was there, but I saw everybody, like everybody was there. And you just harken back to those days of we're all sitting around going, man, can you believe 35 years later, 30 years later, whatever, we're sitting here and everyone's just, we're in a room together celebrating this, but also celebrating the culture and kind of looking at each other and doing a bit of the silent nod. It was really special. Anyway, I'm getting at the point that you're trying to get to is what a special place Vancouver became. I think we always looked at ourselves maybe more of a, yes, it's Canada, but I believe Vancouver kind of just built that frame out from here to Seattle. Portland was definitely on the map, but I didn't ever feel like it was a really integral part of the movement. There was a handful of people doing some stuff out there, but I felt Seattle really had some important acts there. And then it kind of just skipped over to Cali. And that whole West Coast connection just, I felt really built organically. And that was through travel. And of course, Mad living in the Bay Area and me living in Dago with Moke. And it just built out. That word of mouth was really important back then because that's all there was. You weren't
pre-internet
people, you weren't interneting people. You weren't posting stuff. God, I'm old. You weren't posting stuff like that. It had to go word of mouth. It was very linear. And if you got props from someone that you respected and that you were giving props to, that word of mouth was just so important and truthful and vital. Dude, you know this. We'd have people coming up from Cali sleeping on the sofa that we'd never met, but you trusted them because they were ahead. You heard from so-and-so, yo, this cat's coming up to Vancouver to perform. Yeah, dude, they can crash at the couch. They want to come to the studio, whatever. They need to know where to walk around and have some food or we got you. And we just took care of each other like that. That's just hip hop culture, but on the West Coast, it was really, that timeline was very special for that kind of stuff, man. It was really vital.
Definitely. And I think, unfortunately, that's a harder thing to make happen these days since 9/11. Getting into the United States as a foreign entertainer is a lot more difficult since 9/11 and since some substantial changes down there in terms of trying to keep performance jobs in the United States. So you guys got in at a time that was more doable than it is now. Now work permits are a must for performing down there. So it's not quite what it was for the listeners just thinking like, oh, I should go to the States. Unfortunately, it's not that easy to pop down to the States like that to rock a show like the way it used to be.
Something you said earlier, I thought was really dope because, obviously you're still in the industry and you've been doing this for so long. And it's kind of cool hearing the parallels from back then that are still, still happening today in the industry. Like you were saying, the thing you said was everyone was for hire. If you got a verse for 500 or a beat for 1,000, whatever it was. And I wanted to just touch on this because I see so much talk on the internet about this whole paying for features and beats and stuff like that. And so for people to hear someone like Prevail say, everyone's for hire, a verse was 500, a beat was 1,000. I think people need to hear that because I think people are like, nah, I'm not paying for anything. I'm just going to straight collab if it's not a collab. And I think that mindset, it's a legit thing that, you know, but if you want to work with people, this is a business, it's an industry. And you know, people's time is worth money.
Yeah.
I think that it's kind of, it's cool to hear that that's how it was and it's how it still is and should be. And people's time and skills should be respected and compensated as such.
And it was also it's our livelihood, right? So let's respect each other's art form. I rap how I rap. I don't rap how AC Alone raps, but I love how AC Alone raps, and shout out to Freestyle Fellowship. I want to respect AC's time. I want to respect AC's craft. And I think that just goes vice versa. I think that's how it should be. Dude, I'll be honest, I've done some things on the arm, but you build relationships with people that you think are dope. And it's not necessarily about, yeah, and when this song blows up, I'm gonna get my percentage on the song. Sometimes you just do it out of the straight love of doing it. But at the end of the day, man, let's be forthright. I gotta keep this roof over my head, bro. That doesn't, as much as I'm friends with my landlord, he's not just gonna let me stay here because I can. That's not how how it works. So sometimes you give, sometimes you got to get to give. I mean, you got to pay to play sometimes. But I respect people's time. I respect their craft because they do things that I don't do. I can rap, but I don't rap. No one raps the same. I can't produce a beat to save my life. I respect the producer so much. Otherwise, what are we doing? Acapella freestyles all the time. So take care of each other, and that's how we build the culture. And that's also, to be honest, this is a music industry. So out of all of that comes sort of that reputation of as being a business person that delivers on what they say they're going to do. You pay me for a verse, and I tell you I'm going to have it on Wednesday. I'm going to have it to you on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you miss a day or two, life happens, whatever. But you say you're going to do a thing, you do a thing. And I think that's how we build that system of trust, which is why hip hop culture is such a unique entity, and rap music within the structure of the culture. We don't need to go into the four elements speech, but yeah, I just think you get hired to do something, you deliver upon it. And then once in a while, you do it out of love because you've got a personal relationship with someone. Yeah, in a nutshell.
I think Prev just hit on a very important point about the fact about relationships are in place before it's not about the business. I think that people should expect that they need to do business first unless they already have a relationship. I think that's critical. I think people's expectations of handouts without having a relationship are deeply flawed. You know, and I don't think that's the way people should be thinking.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, man.
Brav, you mentioned how hip hop is like a very special culture, in the way that, you know, a lot of the artists and producers interact with each other because it is such a community. I come from, before hip hop, the snowboard and skateboard community, and I draw a lot of parallels from those. And Kyle and I have spoken on that in some other episodes. Totally. But on that note, I first heard Swollen Members through skateboard and snowboard videos. I was a snowboard grom. I wasn't even in hip hop, but I just always loved the music. And so I'd be watching Mac Dog Productions, and that's how I first heard you guys. And I think it's really dope, and it's really important because it's a very grassroots, but it's also an industry thing, which I think Kyle would love to talk about here. So I'm gonna let Kyle jump in here. But I think just, you know, getting placements, which we call sync. And I think that was, I would never have heard Swollen if you know, you hadn't got those placements in those snowboard videos. And I think it's very dope that there's that crossover.
Brother, I agree, because these are when you think about snowboarding, you know, skiing's been around, and respect and love to all my friends who ski and skiers all around the world, you know. But when snowboarding came up, when skateboarding started, when hip hop culture and rap music started going, they were all rebel cultures. They were street cultures but they were against the grain. It wasn't normal to do those kind of things. So I think when all those things found each other, they just fused so symbiotically, stylistically, culturally, aesthetically. I just felt that those rebel cultures just really found each other in a very organic way, and I was very, very thankful and still am. I mean, I just had lunch with Moses. RDS, baby, what? Red Dragons, what? Um, just to keep that young vibe alive, that youthful energy is just, we can't lose that rebellious sort of stature that all of those cultures hold. I think it's like really important, but I think that's how they found each other. It was really organic. I felt like that.
I was gonna ask Brev, like what sort of impact did you find sync placements like skateboard and snowboard videos, and what effect that had on Swollen and yourself as a solo artist? What effect did that have on you guys?
Well, look, to be totally honest, most of the sync licensing stuff, if you're looking for a mat, if you think you're going to get a song on a ski or snowboard video or a video game and you're going to be able to retire and buy a house in Hawaii, you better have the biggest song in the world. I don't know what to tell you. It's not a windfall. But you know what it is exposure. And what that does is let you know, especially for Swollen, it told us where our marketplace was. Cali, Vermont, Utah. Yeah, we played New York a bunch of times. We played Chicago. We played all over the States. Norway, Sweden, Switzerland, anywhere where any of the sort of mountain cultures live. And skateboarding kind of is very vibrant. We were able to go to those places because, again, like you said, there was familiarity there through the music, whether it was a score, a soundtrack, a video game. If we were on that thing and people liked the track, they would, look us up, or a promoter would call and say, hey, man, you guys are, all of my homies that snowboard in Vermont are talking about this song that's on this new video that just came out. You guys want to do a show in Burlington? Yeah, okay, let's roll. So for us, it was a really good indicator of where our markets were, and I think that was very important. But the one-off stuff, I mean, you're literally, dog, there's times where you're on a video game that sold 2 million copies around the world and you're splitting $500 in sync licensing. You're like, okay. But thank you for the exposure.
Video games don't pay mechanicals.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know.
The period of time of the 4 years leading up to the first album was also a lot of grinding. Can you talk about the grind, the dues that were paid a little bit more?
Sure. Yeah. 3-4 people in a hotel room, driving in a Winnebago across Canada in the middle of winter.
With no heat?
No heat. Sometimes you're rocking shows in front of 400 people. Sometimes you're rocking shows in front of 45 people. I was actually just saying this to someone the other day. I remember one of these, we played a show on the tour that we did with Vadim and Task Force and Kellen, Mr. Thing. We're in a small county in England. And it was a daytime show. It was one of those days where you're going to play a daytime show, then you're going to go rock a nightclub at night. So I think whoever it was probably Simon actually, had a connection with this little cafeteria bar pub setup. And we played at, I don't know, man, 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And I am not kidding. There was probably 8 people. They had no idea that there was going to be a rap show. They were literally on lunch break and they were eating plowman's lunch. And they were like literally, I think, like from a farming agricultural district. Hey, anyone here like rap music? Like, get out of here. Like, okay, we still got to do our show. But I think we very quickly learned, doesn't matter if there's 8 people or 8,000 people. Those 8 people, hopefully, 5 of them go, you know what? That's not what I went in for. I was just having lunch. But you know what? Those guys were pretty good and they gave it their all. Word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth. I still think it's the most powerful And now, thankfully, you can do it like this. But you see something you like, you validate it, you vouch for it, you stand behind it. The people in your peer group and your friends go, well, if they're saying that it's good, I'm going to at least check it out. Um, so I'd say on the grind, when you're on the grind, just none of us have the luxury, and especially when you're in the third iteration of your career, none of us have the luxury of going, just because I have a mic and a stage, everyone should love what I'm doing. You better put your best performance to that thing and give it your all. Otherwise, that could be it. You want to run a show, a length of shows, and do a bunch of, run a length of tour and do a bunch of shows, and just call it in, and think just because you can put words together in sequential order that rhyme, people are going to think it's the bee's knees. You better put an effort forward, man, because you're trying to still, A, you're either trying to get fans, or B, you're trying to keep your fan base. And both those things are hugely important and tantamount to each other. You need people talking.
No doubt. Can you elaborate a little bit on the connection with, or the communication with supporters one-on-one in person, like the kinds of efforts that you made to build relationships with people and form lasting support?
Yes, absolutely. Well, you know me. I'm a socialite. I'm a people. I consider myself a people person, which is why I live alone. But when it comes to the audience, fan base, family, however you want to describe it, man, you got to shake hands. You've got to sign every autograph. You should be the last person. You and the general manager of the bar should be the last two people leaving that venue. You should have signed every CD, every T-shirt, every piece of merchandise, poster, whatever. You have to shake hands with all those people and say what up and make that connection. Also, a little tip: when you're performing, I get it, man. There's cheat codes to performing. Look 1 inch above someone's forehead and they think you're looking right at them. I know all the theatrical tricks. But when you actually look someone in the eyes while you're spitting a verse, even if it's only half a verse, dog, that's, yo, I'm at a rap show. This cat's actually rapping to me. They love it. You love it. The energy goes up. And then, like I said, after the show, you've got to do that. I've started going into the room an hour before the show and just walking around. So stoked you guys are here. What are you doing, dog? Shouldn't you be backstage drinking, whatever, champagne before you go on stage? Why are you here hobnobbing with us? We paid to come see you. Yeah, that's why I'm here. You paid to come see us. What's up? I hope you have a good time tonight. I don't see a lot of people doing that, but that's my mantra now. I've been doing that for years now. Is like not first in the building. I mean, sound people and engineers and all, but performatively, first person in the building, last person out. I want that, man. I need to let you know that I appreciate that you're here. That's, I don't know, man. That's the culture to me.
Yeah.
Well said. That's dope. That's really dope.
Word.
Switching gears a little bit from building with fans, what about building a team?
Oof. Well, you're the master classes in your court for that. But again, you've got that when we were with Network for Distro, I felt like what you guys were doing at Battle Axe, and let's be totally clear, as you know, I was usually riding my BMX around downtown and my McNeil, going and getting free clothes anywhere I could get them and buying Adidas sneakers 3 days a week. I wasn't necessarily an integral part of the functional team. But what you guys did and the relationship that you built with when we had our distro stuff was, you got to realize, yeah, nowadays you can do a lot on your own. But man, you still need, what are you doing? You're doing your own photos, videos, you're doing accounting, you're doing your own posting, you're doing your own scheduling, you're setting up your own recording schedule, you're editing your own stuff. Yeah, people are doing that. I get it. One person can only do so much. You need relationships, and you need viable relationships with people you trust. We brought you on board for XL. That was the number one. How are we going to do this? We need someone that we love and trust that can help us figure out when are the grants being, when are the grant proposals? When are the deadlines? What's the language look like? What needs to go into it? How much material do we need? We're shooting videos from the last live show for what? Oh, to show the next promoter, to show that we can throw a good show and we're hireable. All these moving parts, man. It's a lot. You need a team. We had probably, between Battle Axe and Network at the time, we probably had 10 to 12 people working on an album launch, from graphics to release dates to rack end placement to UPS codes, or UPS, whatever, ISBN codes. All of that stuff that went into making a release on time, like we need the album by this date. And then of course you've got mixing, mastering, the studio stuff. People got to be in the booth. Dude, it's a lot. And it's so important that the communication line is thorough. You're very good at that. I'll keep the side note joke to myself and you. But you're very thorough. But that's the good thing is nothing falls through the cracks. There's no finger pointing. When you get a good team together, it's not oh, you missed this. This was supposed to be on the 5th and you didn't get it to me till the 11th. And now this timeline's blown. Be thorough, be forthright, and be projective. Give me that arc. Tell me we need a month to get to this piece, because I know this next piece needs to happen in another month, because our long goal is 6 months from now. Don't tell me this stuff 2 weeks out and make everyone have to scramble. Be thorough.
Well said.
So, Swollen members, Excel the band. Obviously, you've worked in a lot of groups. What sort of challenges and also the rewards from working in a group versus working solo?
You know what? I haven't really done a lot of solo stuff because I really do dig the I like having people to bounce ideas off of. So between Split Sphere back in the day, Moke and I, Swollen, Alpha Omega, XL the band. So Alpha Omega's Neff and I, my nephew. A couple things that I got coming up. I've done a couple solo things, to be totally honest. It's not really my bag. If I'm going to do solo stuff writing wise, it tends to be in a different avenue of creative writing. I don't want to give the farm away because I got some things that I'm working on. But I just love that collaborative effort. I love being able to work with other artists that I love and respect. And I think that's, for me, always been the mainstay. And I also think it gives you a good chance to respect other people's voices. I think one of the reasons that Swollen always had such a dynamic, I can say this, I think, without hopefully sounding braggadocious, but I think one of the things that makes Swollen really unique is that we have a lot of dynamicism, in that I'm not going to tell Mad you can't say that unless it's super egregious or, outlandish, and vice versa. But I think we've tempered each other really well, and with Moke obviously too, but we've tempered each other really well in that, say what you want, man. This is that part of the track is yours to say and do what you want on it. And you just sparked something in me that I wouldn't have probably thought of if I was just sitting at home. I'm in my kitchen right now. If I was just sitting at home, and this is my writing corner, that I wouldn't have thought of if I was just sitting there writing by myself. I love that sort of yin and yang, push and pull kind of idea to being in a group. And I know rap groups are kind of rare these days. So there's a lot of solo artists, and hat off. I couldn't do it like that. And you also have to write a lot more. Maybe I'm lazy. Did I just realize I'm lazy? I only have to write half as much? Damn.
You do a lot of writing in other areas.
I do.
So
I've had an epiphany.
You're working smarter, not harder.
There you go.
Well said. So what about working across genres? After laying the foundation with hip hop, you did not shy away from branching out beyond.
Yeah, so I guess if you're using XL as an example, yeah, Rob and I are in and Neff was in, and still always the door, as he knows, is open for collaborative stuff. Yeah, my first time being in a live band. Back in the day, Split Sphere did have, shout out to Ari Shack from Beat Street. He had a band that Moke and I used to jam with live and do freestyles and stuff with, but we never recorded anything. So yeah, to be in XL with Lisa Norman, Doctor, if you're listening, I love you. You're a beast. But yeah, horns, flute, piano, guitar, bass, live drums, keys, like that whole avenue has really opened up a different frame of mind for me, in that the writing material, the subject of the writing is also different, because I know what Swollen MO is. I know our direction usually is going to be rip your face off style raps and verses. Yes, I think we've been very good about being diverse. We've got some tug at the heartstrings songs. We've got some real life memoir, testimonial sort of approaches as well. But with XL, Lisa, our lead singer and songwriter, her direction is not me and Madchild's direction necessarily. So it really opened up. I had to get into a different style of writing, and I love it. Now, once in a while, every 4 or 5 songs, I tell Matt and Lise, I'm like, I need mud, blood, and rust. I still have to be, you still have to let me be Prevail. I have to kind of, let me crush my teeth into some things for a bit here. Sink my fangs into some necks, like the Lady Venom video, which you performed so masterfully in. But I think it's really, at this point in my career, it's been really, really rewarding to have that opportunity to be able to write in a different form and fashion and deliver different messaging and open myself up a little bit. You know me, I was always a cryptic. I grew up listening to, Posdnuos is one of my favorite rappers. What I listen to some of their stuff still day long, rest in peace to the Dove. But sometimes I listen to their stuff and I just go, I just figured this out now. That's 30 years later. I just figured out what you guys are actually talking about. That's how I always fashioned myself. I wanted to be as cryptic. I wanted to pretend I was a professor, or I had my doctorate in theology, mythology or something. So I still like that balance, but it's nice just to kind of be able to speak from the heart. So yes, rewarding. Thank you, XL, for that.
Fair. On the live front, in the earlier days of Swollen, after you had dozens, if not hundreds, of Swollen shows under your belt and started to gain traction in Canada, you also toured with rock acts.
Mm-hmm.
Can you elaborate on the working across genres and the live collaborative side of things?
Well, look, I grew up in Langford, so I grew up on AC/DC was, and still is, one of my favorite bands of all time. Metallica, any kind of that, Guns N' Roses, to be totally honest. You grew up in Langford, you grew up on that energy. And so all that was natural for me, and again, I grew up in the theater. So that energy for me, that performative energy, when it came to music, always kind of had that sort of rock and heavy metal energy to it. I felt like just, again, standing in one spot, just going, yo, I can rap. Dope, dude. Great. Boring the shit out of me on stage. You got to move, man. You got to do a thing. Mad grew up on punk, Circle Jerks, DOA, Bad Brains. So when we merged, he's like, I'm punk energy. I was like, yeah, I'm rocking heavy metal. Boom. How do we put this into a rap show? Crack a beer, down a beer, kick a speaker over, spit on the stage, crowd surf. No one was doing shows like that, man, in Canada, for sure not in Canada. And it took people by surprise. It really, I think, like, oh man, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. but retrospectively it worked. So yeah, that's kind of the mentality that we went into it, is just be true to that those are our upbringings, man. We just happen to rap, but our energy is definitely in those two arenas.
Fair.
Yeah.
Well put. So with the release of Balance in 99 and the initial JUNO nomination, what did that look like to you?
Oh, well,
What did the JUNO nomination do for you? The first JUNO nomination.
okay, so just the nod alone, we didn't think we were going to get, and thank you for your hard work, because I know you were a major force behind getting the submission actually in and on time and properly submitted. But we were on, Swollen was on tour in the States. In fact, I think our last show, well, you and I were living together. So I think the last show, if I'm not mistaken, was in Portland. And we had driven from Portland. The Junos that year were in Edmonton. Is that right? I think they were in Edmonton.
I don't remember.
Winnipeg or Edmonton. So Swollen had driven back from Portland, got to the house. I'm sitting at home waiting for the Junos to come on. I'm probably unpacking. I'm tinkering around the house. And the phone rings. And it's my grandma. And she's like, honey, oh my God, honey. I'm like, Grandma, are you having a heart attack? Literally. Are you okay? Is Grandpa okay? Do I need to call an ambulance to go to the house? What is happening? She's like, you won. What? What are you talking about? I just talked to Aunt Deb, her daughter, my Aunt Deb. I just talked to Deb. You guys won. What? Yeah. So, okay. Love you. I'm glad you guys are good. Click. Pick up the phone. I called Matt. He was at his parents' place. I was like, bro, I just got off the phone with my grandma. We won. He's like, what? So we're, half an hour, we're kind of back and forth. We're watching the thing. Okay. The ceremony starts. Finally get to the rap category. We win. Some other things transpire after that. That's for another podcast at a different time. We had hired a street team person to put up a bunch of the Balance posters that are now, I probably have the last 8 of them left in the world. And the street team guys went out and they put all these Balance Swollen members posters up that Zodak had airbrushed and was very mysterious. Who are these guys? No one really knew about us. But I remember you talking to the street team people the next day, and he said, we stood outside of the venue after you guys had won, and people had gone into the venue saying, Swollen members, never heard of that. Cool poster, I guess, whatever. And when people were leaving, they were peeling the posters off of the poles. Literally. Like, oh, this is a piece of Canadian hip hop. Who are these guys? A second West Coast group, and mad respect always to the Rascals. That era for another West Coast Canadian rap group in that period of time, we were on the other side of the proverbial rap fence at that time, if you will. And no one had heard of us. And thank you to the people at Karis and the voting board that made that final decision. I'm telling you, bro, the phone started ringing off the hook. That first Juno, and the fact that we weren't there created this total mystery. Who are these guys? Their poster isn't us just posing. It was an airbrush thing of Mad Child smoking a cigarette with angel wings on, with a hoodie on. I didn't even have these. These are the dreads that came out of that poster eventually, 20-something years later. I've got a pipe in my mouth with a wizard's book with letters floating off of it, and Zodak painted himself as a dragon. Who are these people? Are they actually real? They're cartoon characters. It just created this, and the media stuff that followed the next week just created this thing. But then, like we were talking about, the phone started ringing. We started booking shows, and we started hitting the stage. We started fucking people up, bro. Our live show was fucking people up. I'm gonna stand by that forever. I will always stand by the power of a live swollen show because of the energy transference between us and the crowd. It's just this reciprocal conduit of energy that I just think has been really unique.
Definitely. Definitely. So after the first Juno win, that resulted in a bunch of new live performance opportunities and dollars going up from more opportunities, and also getting media attention at a time when it really made a substantial difference.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Much Music.
Yeah.
You know, was and commercial radio came after, but that much music at the time, we were still very much in the MTV / Much Music monoculture, where, you know, it was the internet to speak of in the early days. You know, I mean, it's still in the very early days of the internet, the World Wide Web. So it was kind of the means of connecting the whole country. So that was kind of a look, I think, that helped get the industry interested. Would you agree?
Oh, massively. Yeah. Dude, here's what I will say about Much. All of the VJs that were on there were journalists. Especially, you know, we kind of missed, we were a little later than the Terry David Mulligan days and the Erica M's and Master T. Like we were kind of the era after that. But we were lucky that we were in the Strombo days, Rick Campanelli, Nardwar. We were in those days. And so they really cared about music, not just one genre. They were aficionados and interested in every genre of music. So when you sat down for those things, you knew you weren't just kidding. So when did you start rapping? Because they knew you'd been asked that 35 times before you walked into the Much studio, right? They really dug. You really had to get into they were really good at letting you kind of go through your own discography and your own personal journey and getting the truth out of you. They got you on, like, when did you get it right? When did you mess something up? But it really spoke to what people actually genuinely care about. I want to know this artist. I don't want tasting notes. I don't want a pre-scripted, which is why I didn't want any. I don't do that. For all the interviews that I've done, I've never once wanted the script beforehand. I don't want to think it through. If I can't answer it organically, what am I doing in this business anyway? And they were really good at that. But Much was so important because, I mean, I remember, and Neff always talks about this too, he'd rush home from school to see if we'd gone from number 15 to number 12, or did we drop down to 20? Is the song petering out? Did we hit number 1? What's going on here, right? The countdown. And I remember watching and going, what is happening? You're listening to the radio and people are calling in going, man, can you play that again? I love that song. Do they have anything else coming out? When's the album dropping? All of those, again, that word of mouth, organic, genuine curiosity and community push. I want to say, and I've been part of this process. I want to be able to tell people, hey, yeah, you know why you like Dilated? Because I told you 4 years ago when they were on a Relativity 12-inch, this group is the shit. Yeah, remember Prev told, oh yeah, man, I remember you did tell me that. So I told my homie and told my homie and told my homie. Boom. Yes. I mean, obviously they earned it, but I was probably I certainly wasn't the only one talking about them like that, or Hyro or Freestyle Fellowship, the Roots. You tell people and they trust you, they love it, you see it, but Much had the biggest megaphone. It was so important. And it was literally, yeah, it was the MTV of Canada. To be honest, I'll go out on a limb here and say, better programming, man. Much really did a thing, dude. When you walked into that building with the car sticking out of the side of it, you were like, yo, this is important. The MMVAs, you had, yeah, tons of Canadian cats, obviously. I mean, that's what it is. But when you have international artists and you're in Canada and you can get so and so fill in the blank presenting an award or co-hosting or performing alongside of, and then you're pushing everything Canadiana. I'm talking, man, like you're hanging out. I'm elbow to elbow with Jim Cuddy. I'm having shots with Sloan. Like, what is happening here? So sorry to harken back. I realized I went in a big oval here. But the importance of performing with cross-genre artists. First tour was with Biff, Gob. Loved you guys. That energy was just, that's why that punk, that heavy metal, that rock energy that Swollen had, it made sense. The crowd may have, we were the openers. The crowd may not have been there for us, but I think a lot of times by the time they ended seeing the whole, 3 shows, they were like, I don't maybe necessarily like rap, but those guys are pretty dope. We converted some people along that bandwidth. So I've always been super appreciative of that. Yeah, I think it was a very clever way to roll us out, and still have those friendships to this day. So that's quite special, actually.
Dope. Very dope.
Word.
So as the phone started ringing from the initial buzz in Canada, specifically after the underground worldwide buzz, partnerships started to emerge, partnership opportunities. And you mentioned network as being one of them, for distribution and management as well. Can you expand on, pardon me?
Jay Clark.
Woo. Hope he's well. Haven't talked to him in a minute.
Oh man, the guy was.
But I guess it's sort of similar to the building a team conversation, but partnerships that emerge that help propel things forward, aside from management and distribution, that stood out to you?
Yeah, well, pardon me. Obviously, on the industry side of things, I think we kind of addressed that part of it, just distro wise, and but it did also allow us access to other artists, hence the Biff and Gob tour, and then Avril and touring with Nelly, and opening for Rihanna and Black Eyed Peas. Think about this. We opened for Rihanna. Rihanna opened for Black Eyed Peas. That was that tour across Canada, okay? And we actually played some of the States shows as well. When Rihanna was off doing a different leg of the tour, it was us opening for Pussycat Dolls, who were opening for Black Eyed Peas. So yes, collaborations are hugely important. But again, sort of maybe going back to the ski and snowboard side of things and skateboard side of things, obviously, RDS was such a dope, honest, it wasn't a forced anything. It was like, and Matt had known these guys growing up in North Van. I was introduced to them later on in the timeline, but it was just an honest, again, that rebel culture, kind of respect for each other. You guys are doing this. You guys are doing this. This is dope. Some gear. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna rock this every day on stage. I'm rocking this stuff every day, every interview, every show. When we're walking around the cities that we're touring in, I'm rocking this stuff proudly. They'd play Swollen stuff in the videos. And then we went through, we had our timeline with Circa, which was also super imperative and awesome, and shout out to all those guys, and shout out to DJ Ty, metal, Ty Shelley. That was awesome. And then we got an offer from DC that was just too good to refuse, and DC still is, obviously, but I'm old school enough to remember what DC actually stands for. But that was huge. Like, they did a Swollen member sneaker. Dog, you got your own sneaker? How many Canadian rap groups have their own sneaker, bro? Then? No, man. I'm sorry. That was crazy. And it's just that power of placement. It's that chatter. Stuff that we probably couldn't, honestly, Swollen made good money. It was fine. But we weren't going to go out and drop 25, 30 grand each to get a mold made and produce 5,000 sneakers out of our own pockets. That wasn't happening. To have that access And then the buzz, we did the Skull Candy headphones. Shout out to Skull Candy. We did the Skull Candy headphones, the swollen headphones, with a silver ticket on the top that was almost like a Willy Wonka kind of ticket. If you had that ticket, if you bought that pair of headphones, it was in our contract worldwide. Whatever swollen show that you wanted to go to, if you presented that ticket, you got into the show for free. Come on, man. You can't. That's nuts, bro. So yes, collab. It's great. And it's also just nice to work with other creative people that do things that are maybe outside of your wheelhouse, but that you appreciate the thought process that goes behind it, because at the end, everyone's producing a product. But it's really cool when you get to put your stamp on it.
Agreed.
Like I said, I first heard Swollen in skate videos, and I can say, and I can attest to the fact that like Swollen was synonymous with RDS. You know what I mean? It was like a symbiotic relation. Like it's like when you think of Swollen, you thought of RDS and vice versa. I remember I used to wear Circa, so I remember those days well. And I think there's two powerful points in what you said too. Is one is like finding your niche. Swollen obviously found their niche. You know what I mean? In that market, because DC, Circa, RDS, Skull Candy, those are all skateboard, snowboard, action sports brands, and like finding your niche. That I think that's a big point. And then also, in that finding your niche is finding the people that support you and rolling with them. Not trying to force people that don't want to support you, but like really rolling with the people that do support you. Can you speak on that more? Like how that really helped you guys carving your niche? Like, was that intentional? Did that just kind of come organically?
Oh, so much of that stuff was organic, man. I mean, the again, the RDS, Matt had known Sluggo and all the boys and Mose and Casey and all those guys from the North Van days. He was a skateboarder. Moke was a skateboarder. I tried it after we started getting sponsored. They'd give me a couple decks and I almost broke my neck. And so my advice is don't learn to skateboard when you're 23. Like that's not a good look. You better start when you're 2 or 3 if you want to get really good at it. I tried to clear a staircase once and I was like, that's it. I'm done with that. But those things, they were organic. They totally were. I spent a lot of time up in Whistler. I loved snowboarding. I still do. And so met some people up there that kind of led us to the path for sponsorship up there through the center, Mark Morrison. And then Ty was working in the warehouse. And so, yeah, that was the Circa days, Forum, Foursquare, when we were kind of getting sponsored by that stuff. And then that spiraled into Swollen getting sort of a popularity, or at least a recognizable sound caption in that space, and that sort of led us to the DC path. But all of those relationships, all through all of that, were so dope, dude. Like, what are you talking about, homie? I'm at Peter Lyne's house.
Yeah.
Sitting in, he built this room that was all like cushions, like Eastern, like Arabic, Afghanistan kind of style cushions, the woven ones. He had built this whole kind of chill room. We're just chilling, we're having a drink, and I go, man, what the hell am I doing at Peter Lyne's place? And sorry, not Casey, I call him McKay. And Devin Walsh, like Debbie, all these guys, anyway, I'm at Peter Lyne's house after the show, and we're just chilling. I go to introduce another show, and we had a gig, and I look over and I'm like, holy shit, dude, it's Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk's like, yeah, bro, I'm a Swollen fan. What? How in the hell is Tony Hawk even know who Swollen Members is? And he was cool as a cucumber, man. He was with his wife. He was skating. Swollen was doing a show at Slam City Jam. I was like, dude, this is nuts. How are we in this world? It is so cool. I'm snowboarding with Devin Walsh. Like, this is crazy to me. But again, they're rocking the tunes. We're rocking their gear. We're watching their videos. It's just, it was really, really organic, honestly, really respectful and really truthful. nothing ever was, I never felt like anything was forced upon either of the, entities or people involved with any of it. It was just like naturally, you're cool, you're cool, you're cool, cool. This is awesome. We're all hanging out. Let's have some fun.
I think that same kind of energy also worked its way over to the live opportunities like the World Ski and Snowboard Festival in front of thousands of people. That really was you and I had a conversation about this not too long ago, P, about how before the internet was a big thing that it is now, how it kind of helped spread the word from all the people from all over the world that came to Whistler for World Ski and Snowboard Festival and so on. So lots of Aussies, lots of Europeans, Japanese people, that kind of thing. To just that really helped spread the word in the very early days, and that was huge. Bringing it a little bit forward now.
Shout out to Sue and her brother, by the way. Shout out to Sue.
No doubt. Bringing it forward decades, still going hard, still touring. Swollen is back together, touring again. How do you find the balance of life, I guess, with decades under your belt and keeping it moving and keeping it fresh? What does that look like to you now, decades in?
I'll put it this way. I'm thankfully angry. I'm thankful to have the opportunity still. It's been a long time since Swollen did anything of this magnitude. As you know, we played the last show was before this whole thing was 5 years ago. Played up in Wiss. We played the Hollywood. We played the Soberfest in Vic. Played LA for Rhymefest. Then I realized I've got a lot of pent up good anger. Good anger. As the late, great John Lewis said once, get into good trouble. Paraphrasing. I'm not sure that's exactly how it goes, but you get what I'm getting at. I realized Swollen has a very special place in my heart. And I don't want to go out on stage and call it in. If I'm not going to be up there with the boys doing what we're supposed to be doing, which is spinning nasty verses and ripping that stage apart, I'd go get a 9-to-5 somewhere. If we're going to do it, and we talked about this, if we're going to do it, let's do it. The Hollywood was the testing ground. You were there. I don't know, man. Pretty good feedback. Soberfest, pretty good feedback. Played LA Fest. I don't know, man. But we had a pretty good show. Just got to do it 20 more times next month. True. But I'm not stepping on there without a bit of a, I won't even say a potato chip, but like a non-deep fried chip on my shoulder. Is there an organic, healthy bag of chips that you can have on your shoulder? But no, man, I'm going in. I'm chomping at the bit, dog. I love the set that we have right now. I love the energy. I like the connection with the crowd. I like jumping around. I don't know, man. Anyway, we're gonna bring it every night. That's my guarantee. Bringing it every night.
So with this being, Rap Career Growth Podcast, and for someone who's performed thousands of times, can you give us your top 5 ways for artists listening they can make their show outstanding and memorable for the audience? Top 5 from Prev right here.
Top 5. Number 1 for me is eye contact.
Eye contact.
Yeah. Because you can, again, I know all the theater tricks. I grew up in the theater. I know all the tricks. You engage someone and you're looking them in the eye and they know it because you know it because you're literally looking right at them and they're saying, and I'm telling them, I'm looking right at you, dog. That's why I'm wearing contact lenses tonight. I'm literally looking right at you. I see you, bro. Eye contact. 2, mic control is so important, man. Don't cup the mic, dude. Don't cup the mic. There's ways to cheat that too. Usually when you're rocking a Shure 57 or a 58, there's a little band, like a wedding band almost kind of thing, like a ring around the mic. You can cheat your finger to make it look like people are revving like this. You're killing this. You're killing yourself. You're killing the sound team. I don't know, whatever. Don't do that. 3, move. Standing in one spot, man. Yelling at me saying, get hype. You get hype. I'm paying you. Get hype. Why? You're not doing anything. Boring me to tears, man. 4, self-promote. You're there to not only do the show, you're there to keep people aware of what you're doing. You're also there to kind of push some merchandise. One of the dopest things I've ever seen was Ozo Motley. If everyone knows Ozo Motley, we opened for Ozo Motley at Glastonbury. They got off stage and they walked through the crowd with the horn section, and they did this whole procession, kind of like a cha-cha line kind of thing. And they walked people to the merch booth, and they went to their backstage. Guess what they did? They just brought 350, 400 people to their merch booth. You're there to promote as well. Yes, it's an interaction, it's an exchange. But this is rent money, dog.
Yeah.
5, be honest with your fans and go to the merch booth after you're done your show. If you need 5-10 minutes to cool down and slam a beer or have a water or do a shot or whatever the hell you're doing, change your shirt, do your thing. Don't leave cats hanging around for 45 minutes, man. What is this? This is underground hip hop. Respect the people that are there for you. Go sign their t-shirts, whatever vinyl, whatever you're selling at the merch booth. Go respect them, man, and shake hands and actually get to know them, because that's who comes the next time to the show. And I'll tell you what, if you do it right, they bring a friend or 2, and so on and so on and so forth, which is how you get from 8 people in a pub in Britain in the middle of Lancashire to 8,000 people opening for Black Eyed Peas. That's how you get there, step by step, incrementally. It doesn't happen overnight.
That's it. Top 5. Right
Word.
there.
Nicely done. Nicely done. P, talk about giving back. Now that you've talked a lot about the business side of things, talk a little bit about the charitable initiatives you're involved in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. So I was blessed with the opportunity about 10 years ago to be part of a charity called Music Heals. So the main objective is to raise as much money as we can, mainly through our gala and other initiatives, but mainly through our annual gala, which is now at the Commodore. So to raise as much money as we can for patients of music therapy to afford more hours with their music therapists. So we do everything from palliative care to burn units to children's hospital and a pretty big swath of programs. What our founder, shout out to DB, Mr. Barnett, figured out really early on was building a program is approachable, but it's to get all through the bureaucracy and the red tape, federally and provincially and municipality wise. It's much easier if you can just raise money and attach that as a charitable donation to a pre-existing program or initiative that's already been greenlit. So although we do have a handful of standalone things, it is mainly donate that money to things that pre-exist that we feel as a board are important. So we are Canada's #1 fundraising music therapy program, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. But I realized, about 10 years ago, I had a soapbox to stand on and a bit of a megaphone. And I felt like it was really important to be able to give back to the community. And of course, something music heals, it makes so much sense in the line of work that I do. It felt natural. I've sat on boards for other entities that I did feel and still do feel are important, but I was having a harder time finding my organic connectivity to not the programs, but the overall scope of the output. This one to me, for me, Music Heals just makes 100% it. It's in my heart, and I'm so endeared. Strombo was a great host for a great number of years. We've had Maestro, what created Arrested Development. I mean, the amount of people that we've had perform at these things, we don't announce who is performing. It's almost a concert that raises money to give to music therapy, not the other way around. So we don't tell anybody. The internal crew knows, obviously, who's performing on any said year. But for the general audience, they don't know. So all they know is year after year, the quality is going to be really well thought of. Production-wise, talent-wise, Commodore, it's the Commodore. What else can you say? It's legendary worldwide. So yes, shout out to Music Heal. Shout out to DB and the whole team. Kelly, what up? Yeah, Mr. Calder.
Very cool. Very cool. Any other recommendations you have for artists coming up that you want to share? You got the soapbox.
I got the soapbox. Well, look, I'm still to be forthright with the. I'm a dinosaur, man. You know that. I am going to say something that I should probably heed my own advice on. Catch up. Catch up with the tools that are available to you and be proficient with them, and not only utilize them. You've been a very good teacher to me on this. Consistency and honesty. I don't post much, man, but when I do, it's about something that I'm genuinely excited about. I don't necessarily want to be posting every day about the meal that I ate or the beach that I'm on or whatever. To each their own. But if I just wrote a dope verse and it's not over, I can spit it a cappella without it affecting the song being listened to in its totality, I'm always down to spit that or do something like that. If I just had a dope experience or, I'm part of the creative, or the cultural team at Ballet BC. So I love the ballet. I love the fine arts. If I just I just went to the ballet and that was dope and I can send you a link, I'm going to post things that I'm actually genuinely and honestly excited about. Consistency is not my MO, but being genuine about it, I think is important. I'm not trying to post every day just for eyeballs, but when I do get the eyeballs, I want people to know that's something that I'm really excited about. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Appreciate your time. That went by. We just went through an hour and a half like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
You.
Anybody have any last words or questions or anything they want to share?
I got one more question.
Okay.
Just Prev, one of the things you mentioned a couple times is, being at a show first and the last to leave. And it seems very evident that you care about your fans and your audience. So on that note, is there for artists listening, this is the Rap Career Growth Podcast. We really want to take your experiences in this and translate to them to help them better their businesses. What other strategies have you found like really effective in super serving your biggest supporters to maximize engagement and ultimately income?
Kyle?
Hire
Kyle.
I actually wrote the question, so I just didn't ask it.
Hire Kyle.
I thought. Thank you, Pete.
KraftyEntertainment.com.
KraftyEntertainment.com. I thought Pete did a great job of highlighting the importance of sales that I didn't feel the need to actually bring up you know, how important sales remain. It's not just because we're dinosaurs. We're dinosaurs who have evolved and remained in operation. But it's not just about streams. It's about making sales, and it's about not only offering something for $20, but if someone's willing to spend $200, you know, also offering that. Like, say, the RDS times Swollen fan pack on their tour that not only includes. Do you want to run it down, or shall I?
No, you go.
Okay. That not only includes meet and greet, but also limited edition, exclusive collaborative merchandise, taking it to an even further level beyond the typical VIP meet and greet. It is limited edition. There's only a certain amount. There's only 10 people per show that can get in on that. That it's for the people that want that deeper experience. That's not to say that like the only opportunity to talk to these guys is through that, but it's one-on-one private time and comes with exclusive or limited edition merch that you can't get otherwise. So,
yeah.
And the point is, it's just, you know, being there and engaging supporters at whatever place they want to engage.
Yeah. As they say in politics, you got to meet people where they're at.
Well said.
Great place to end this episode. It was really dope to meet you, not in person, virtually. And talk to you about your experiences and learn from you. I'm Imperative. Listen to the kid.
I'm Kyle Kraft, KraftyEntertainment.com. Check out the Rap Career Growth Facebook group. If you don't know about it, now you know. And Prevail from Swollen members, thank you again so much for your time. Greatly appreciate it.
Likewise. Thanks, boys.